see the skill? No. I fooled around with it. Yeah, I fooled around with
I
it.
told myself, given that it is our national instrument, I have to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
I told myself that.
You told yourself?
Yeah, but I haven't made any effort.
Well, I told myself that too.
But I like pan music. I like
Yeah.
the lime, you know, particularly up in the savannah.
Yeah.
You know, for prelims, I like the
Yeah,
lime.
yeah.
You know, yeah, go and listen to the different
Yeah, it's nice,
different
man.
bands.
It's nice.
While they tuning up outside.
Yeah, and you see, this morning I was saying that, you know, Trinidad and Tobago has given this world so much. And I think that
Carnival.
the problem that we do have is that we take things for granted. We take things for granted, and that's a problem. But before I really start speaking to Officer Forde, I just want to get back to the interview that I did before. And Ilori Waith, right? Now, let me just tell you the connection there. So after the interview, someone said to me, "You remember Miss George?" Now, Miss George was one of my PE teachers. And she said, "Well, Ilori is Miss George's granddaughter." So I said, "How is Miss George?" And I was told, well, Miss George has since passed a few years now. But that is just to show you how life is now, you know? I want to pay specific tribute to Miss George this morning, because she is one who would have touched many young people. She was a disciplinarian. She wasn't easy, but she was a good teacher and a disciplined teacher, and you know, would have touched many in a good way over the years. So, Miss George, I was not aware when you had passed, but you know, over the years we would have discussions and so on. But in cricketing terms, you had a good knock. You know, you had a good knock in the wicket. All right. So I sent to this gentleman this morning. He came in. If you see the gentleman, I said, but apparently he would have come from a meeting with the UN or something. Quite ambassadorial, you know. Ambassador, TTPS Media Ambassador, Ancil Forde, Sergeant Ancil Forde. Mr. Forde, it's good to see you.
Pleasant morning, Marlon. And thank you very much for the compliment.
Yeah, man. The man look official. You look official with the computer and the bag and thing, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, things going with police these days, yeah. Something may be in the future.
We try our best.
This is my assessment.
We try our best. Yes.
Mr. Forde, as always, good to see you and speak with you. What do you have for us today?
Morning again, morning Trinidad and Tobago. So what we're looking at, there has been questions in relation to detention orders under the emergency power regulations. So the Commissioner of Police saw it fit for us to discuss detention order in particular, as well as to give an update in relation to the statistics on the SOE thus far.
Okay.
All right. So understanding that the minister with responsibility for national security, in this case, Homeland Security Minister, all right, he is the person who issues preventive detention orders, all right? And it is designed more or less to target persons by way of credible intelligence and evidence, right? Who we understand that their behavior, whatever activity that they are engaged in, is prejudicial to public safety. They may be involved in serious criminal activity. They may be involved in gang-related activity. They may be involved in firearm and dangerous drugs activities. Yes? And by way of this intelligence, this evidence, a detention order can be sought to ensure that the safety of the public is maintained, that it is not compromised. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, these persons can be detained at designated places as outlined by the minister with responsibility. Yes? Yeah. The issue comes up in relation to the rights of that person who is detained. And that person has the right in law to be informed of the reason or reasons for his or her detention, and the right to have legal advice, that is to communicate with their legal advisor. Yes? The same authority that the minister has to issue, he also has that authority to revoke a preventive detention order. Yes? And persons must understand that they can commit offenses in relation to, let us say, the detention orders, right? Particularly, if somebody escapes having been detained and placed at a designated place of detention, and you escape, you are committing an offense. If other persons assist that person who is detained to escape, they are also committing a serious offense. Yes, and I will speak to the penalty later on. Or anybody who harbors, who offers some protection for a detainee who has escaped, knowing that that person has escaped, is also committing an offense. Yes? So, whilst it is the question comes up in relation to a person who is detained, if that person is entitled to bail. Yes? Right. Now, I want to say that depending on the reason for that person's detention, the process for bail is there to be exercised. Generally, however, persons who are detained are not automatically granted bail, yes, under the emergency powers regulation. And just to be clear, let me just read Regulation 17 for the understanding of everyone. Notwithstanding any rule of law to the contrary, but subject to these regulations, no bail shall be allowed in the case of a person, A, in respect of whom a detention order is in force under the provisions of the schedule, B, detained under the provisions of Regulation 14, or C, charged with an offense, if it is shown to the satisfaction of the magistrate that it is reasonably apprehended that the person arrested is likely to engage or to incite persons to engage in the commission of breaches of the peace or any other offense against the person or property, or against these regulations or any orders, instructions, or directions made thereunder. Now, within that, it made specific reference to Regulation 14. And let me read what Regulation 14 says. Notwithstanding any rule of law to the contrary, a police officer may arrest without warrant any person whom he suspects has acted or is acting or is about to act in a manner prejudicial to public safety or to public order, or to have committed or is committing or is about to commit an offense against these regulations, and such police officer may take such steps and use such force as may appear to him to be necessary for effecting the arrest or preventing the escape of such persons. So, persons who are detained under these particular circumstances, all right, the issue of bail is not automatic, but it does not prevent the process, right? And it will be determined whether that person can be granted bail, as the case may be. Now, whilst persons are detained, one may ask, what else is available to that person. Yes? And someone who is detained, according to Section 4 of the schedule, that person can request that their detention be reviewed by the tribunal, which is established under the Emergency Powers Regulation, to review such requests or such cases of detention where a request is made. And based on that review, a decision can be made in relation to the detention or continued detention. Yes? So I'm trusting that some of the questions that persons may have, that this information allows some clarity. Yes? Thus far, Marlon, the SOE continues to be in effect, and it's important that we continue to account to members of the public, continue to inform them as to how the SOE is progressing by way of the activities of the police.
Yes.
Yes. So thus far, persons arrested amount to 737. The number of anti-crime operations that would have been conducted amounts to 1,760.
All right, Sergeant,
Sure.
if you could just hold your thoughts for a little while for us. We must go to a very short break. We're coming back, everybody.
Sure.
We drinking rum. Tell them to slow it down. No, look how we making road like it's panorama. 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 Inside the air. Look how we making road like it's panorama. 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 Inside the air. Come let me start the bacchanal right now. Take a jump and a wind down. Tell them it's the time of the year. And we know it's there.
All right, everybody. I think that Sergeant and I, we're going to have to sign up for some PAN classes. Sergeant?
No problem with that, I will.
You were speaking about
some of the statistics
Yes,
as it
go ahead,
relates to the results of the SOE
SOE.
thus far. Yes, so in terms of priority offenders who have been targeted, 773. During the SOE thus far, 70 firearms, illegal firearms that is, was taken off of the streets, and the breakdown of that is 18 revolvers, 34 pistols, 9 shotguns, and 7 rifles, that is high-powered rifles. And ammunition-wise, 914. Now, those seizures, they are indeed, successful, because we are speaking about the issue of lives and saving lives. And an illegal firearm in the hands of a criminal is a danger to all of us, yes? So good work to the officers thus far. Congratulations, and keep up that momentum. With respect to narcotics, marijuana, 72,022 grams of marijuana. Yeah, cocaine, 236.97 grams has been so far recovered during this SOE. Now, whilst we continue to focus on serious crimes, we are also paying attention to traffic offenses, yes? Because at the end of the day, you have to commute in most cases to get to whatever location you may be going to commit your crime. So it's not that we are strictly focusing on searching houses and these things. No, we are on the roads as well and conducting exercises. So thus far, in terms of road traffic exercises, we have conducted 1,062, and traffic offenses detected 5,935. Yes? So, Marlon, I spoke in relation to the offenses that a person could commit under the emergency regulation. And the penalty is important. The penalty is very, very stiff. So anybody who breaches the regulation, and it also applies to the issue of detention, right? The detention orders, and anybody who assists anybody to, let us say, escape from being lawfully detained, they are exposing themselves to a fine of $100,000 and to imprisonment for 5 years. Persons must understand the seriousness of the issue involved. Now, as it relates to murders, when we look at the comparative period, 2024 to 2025, yes? So for 2024, to date, or let us say around this date, there would have been 378 murders. For 2025, 233. It speaks to a, I want to say, significant reduction, and we will attribute this to the SOE, in part, giving us the necessary powers,
yes,
right, to sometimes operate or carry out
yes,
an exercise immediately.
Sergeant, we do have a caller for
Sure.
you. Good morning, caller. Caller, good morning.
And to Sergeant Forde, very
Yes.
good morning.
Hi,
Morning.
pleasant morning.
A quick question to the CPS Sergeant Forde.
Yes?
There is a vile video going around with a political activist who has made some racist, vile, incendiary statement about the chairman of CPEP URP, Mr. Khan. I juxtaposing that with jump the wall and deal with them. I'm hoping good sense prevail and the police take a rapid response on that person.
All right, thank you very much.
All right,
You all
caller.
don't draw the gentleman into any politics here.
Well,
But if you wish to respond.
I'm not aware of the particular video, but
Yes.
to the persons who are affected by it, they ought to, I want to say, seek legal advice on the issue to understand what they can do in relation to whatever is being said about them. If it is that there's anything that is criminal, definitely report it to the police so we can investigate to determine whether there's merit in it or evidence to cause a charge to be laid against someone. Yes?
Yeah. Sergeant, we just have about 2 minutes again.
Yes. So, Marlon, why is it is that we continue as the police service to go about during the SOE to enforce the law and to identify and arrest persons involved in this serious criminal activity? What is expected from members of the public is simply for you to cooperate with us, be patient, understanding that at times you may be affected by the exercise being carried out by the police. All right, but with that level of cooperation, that patience, that understanding, and that support, we will continue to reap success. And the success is not just for the police, but it is for all and sundry, right?
Yes.
The Commissioner of Police did speak in relation to the illegal firearms and the persons who have illegal firearms in their possession, and encourage them to come forward and turn in your illegal firearm. That is an avenue for you to turn another leaf. Right?
Yes.
Also, in relation to challenging the police who are out there engaged in their lawful duty, the Commissioner of Police also spoke to members of the public, in particular persons involved in criminal activity, to desist from challenging the police.
Yes.
It is better to submit yourself, allow the police to carry out their exercise, and if there is no reason for you to be interacted with further, you will be allowed to continue your journey.
Yes.
Understand what is the reason for the exercises being conducted by the police, and we continue to look for that full support from members of the public. Yes?
Sergeant, thank you very much for coming this morning. It's always good to see and speak with you. And I'm sure that you will join us right back here next week.
Yeah,
Take care.
definitely. You are
Till
welcome,
then.
Alan.
All right, everybody.
All right, take it
We are
care.
going to a very short break, everybody. We're coming back. More time.
Man, a round of applause. Look, the girl, them ready. Look, the truck man rolling. Hundreds of thousand girls down in town. Hold them with drinking rum. Tell them to slow it up. No, look how we begin road.
There's a powerful